What a finale. I'm so sad this show is over. I've had such a good time with y'all breaking this show down and just having fun with the theories and predictions. And what a great episode. I am happy that I did get some theories right though. Comment below and tell me which theories you had that ended up being correct. But first, don't forget to join me and 400 other people in the Foster fam. You can join either through Patreon or YouTube members. And on there, you get exclusive videos. I'll be able to answer your questions and we can break down all these shows together. But let's get into this episode and talk about how everything came full circle in this conclusion and what we can expect from season 2. What a great way to open up this episode and bring back a character from episode 1 that none of us saw coming back and having an impact, which is the shooter that shot at Cal that ended up hitting Xavier. Now, in my last video, I had said I hoped that the killer wasn't Marcia because it felt like I would want the killer to be someone that we've grown attached to so it can have some type of an emotional impact. And the way they were able to use this guy as a way to bring everything full circle from episode 1 and still be able to have it be this just emotional impact of an episode was fantastic. I think in our current political climate, this episode hit extremely hard with the idea of the workers being the ones sacrificing themselves for the safety of these billionaires. And this is a tale as old as time. And I just want you to listen to this part that he says at the very end, right before his demise.
They had a chance to start over down here, build a better world. Instead, they chose more of the same, made this place a prison. It's the American fucking dream. There are bodies scattered in the dirt down here. People need to know this place is nothing more than a gravesite.
That dialogue hits so hard because he's saying things could have been different, but it's the same. Then he brings up the idea of paradise being built on top of bodies, which is exactly how America was also built, was over a gravesite of the Native Americans, of slaves. And when you look at the people that were doing the construction at the beginning of the episode, it was all black and brown bodies, essentially. And so it got its start the same way America got its start. And in this scene, you know, he's trying to report that the workers are going to get sick doing this. And once again, this just hits home because of what's going on right now with everything becoming deregulated and us having absolutely no health and safety regulations anymore. Like, this is just terrifying. As soon as this happened to him, I was like, oh my gosh, he looks familiar. I think he's the guy that was trying to assassinate the president in the first episode. Turns out I was correct. But honestly, giving this super minor character such a good backstory, it's just, it takes a level of genius. Like, it really does. Were you happy with how the story turned out and who ended up being the person that killed Cal? Leave a comment on that. Now, here's what's interesting. I was always wondering if Sinatra actually had complete control over everything or if it was just an illusion. And seeing what one character did this episode made me realize, I don't know.
I'm sure I'm just being paranoid, but
I'll handle it.
No. What I'm saying is, I just want to make sure that we keep the lid on.
Got it. I do have a question for you, though. As you know, the president had a bunch of video games I enjoyed, particularly the Wii. And I was wondering, well, if that Wii could be available.
Just don't do anything to
I think we should end the conversation here.
It was in that moment I realized that Jane, she's not also just some weird assassin. Like, I think she's actually trying to be able to control things. And then that comes full circle too.
He was gonna blow your brains out. But you're no use to me if you're dead. Long recovery ahead of you. Probably should have just let me have the Wii.
Although they're kind of writing her as unhinged, almost in like a Joker type fashion, especially with how it ended with her playing the Wii, I think she's a lot smarter than we all think as far as having ulterior motives. I think she's playing her own game, going back to that gaming theme that came full circle in episode 7. Like, it ends with her literally playing a game. Like, so she's up to something. So my theory of Presley offing Jane in this season did not happen, but I still think that is going to be a full circle moment. Like, Presley is going to find out that Jane killed Billy, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be Presley is the one that takes her out. I'm certain of it. Now let's get to the first thing that I did call right from the beginning that I knew was going to be a big deal, especially since the official Paradise account on TikTok commented on my video about it, which is that Cal's mixtapes were going to be important. I knew the music was going to be important, but it actually did something that I wasn't expecting. So as we know, he left this CD behind for Jeremy, which is important. As he was going through and adding each of these songs, I realized that all of these tracks were songs that were being played at the end of every episode. So Cal didn't only leave the mixtape for his son, he left it for us as the viewer. Kind of like breaks the fourth wall and gets meta in that way. And let's talk about the importance on a thematic level of this speech that he left Jeremy.
And Jeremy, you don't like this world I built.
Fix it.
A lot of this season had to do with generational trauma and generational progress, right? And so it seems like, Jeremy's being tasked with fixing kind of what his father broke. But then Cal was also tasked with fixing what his father was breaking. And then at the very end, we also see this. We see Xavier get ready to fly this plane to go find his wife. And remember, his dad was a pilot, but also he was not supposed to be flying because something was wrong with his vision or something like that. And so that moment with Dr. Gabriella also came full circle because she told him she needed him to do the right thing no matter what. And he is by going to find his wife, but he's actually not playing by the rules anymore, which was subtle. He's doing something he's not supposed to do in order to go find his wife, which is fly the plane. So once again, it's like that generational thing passed down because his dad was also flying when he wasn't supposed to because of his love for flying, and Xavier's flying and he's not supposed to, and he's doing it for his love of his wife. And so there's this mirroring of things repeating themselves, history repeating itself. We'll see if Jeremy can break that, but in a way it still looks, this resembles his dad talking on the White House lawn to me. So he's still continuing his dad's traditions a little bit too. Now, I wasn't sure if Dr. Gabriella was going to have any type of role in this finale, but I was hoping that she did because she was a pretty, prevalent character. And I wanted her character to come full circle. And it did when she said this.
Why are you getting day drunk?
Oh, I don't know. It's possible that I have been telling people for the last decade that a monster isn't a monster.
And so her finally being able to realize who Sinatra is and what she's doing. And what I want to know is going into season 2 is if she's going to keep her role with, the government down there with the billionaires and all that, or if she's going to step out and do things to help Robinson, because it seems like Robinson is who's going to be taking care of Xavier's kids. So I wonder if she's going to step into that role and help Robinson out with that. But also, I just want to say this. If y'all been watching my videos, I've been calling out these cheese fries. I was like, they keep talking about cheese fries. What's up with the cheese fries? And it came full circle.
Now, I don't know who the hell you really are, but Maggie Davis
Carried a fucking EpiPen with her everywhere she went.
A spoonful of this cashew cheese shit would have knocked her on her ass.
Yeah, I told y'all I knew that was going to come back. I knew it. There was a few people in my comments last week that said they felt like the code was the Dewey Decimal System for the library, and y'all were correct. And I was wondering what the president would have left in secret, and he left the codes to be able to leave paradise. We see that here in the book. And it also looks like he left some type of written transcript of what happened with Billy on the surface, maybe just in case they tried to erase it off of the tablet or something like that. But now I'm curious if he was actually going to tell Xavier everything. Something gives me the impression that he was somehow. Now let's go back to the person that did the assassination real quick, because this part was just extremely powerful, this whole theme right here.
We can be close. We can survive whatever is coming.
Please, I'm dying.
I know, but I'm trying to save you.
There's no saving what's coming for me.
There is. Adam, I can save you. Don't hate.
So you have Adam that was also working, and he's trying to save him. He got sick from doing the construction. But, you know, this kind of gets into some biblical references here. So you have Adam. Then you have this shot right here. And that shot really gave me like fallen angel vibes. And what's interesting is that paradise is like hell in that scenario, which is fire. But his journey of actually getting into paradise plays on the theme that we've been talking about as far as what's real actually being fake. Because he was able to get into paradise by faking who he was and also faking a condition to get past security. And so he was just playing the game to survive. And part of that is to be fake. But seeing this plan take effect definitely was emotional. And I couldn't tell if everything was just too much for him or he realized what he did. I'm not sure. But then seeing Cal basically asking for X's help and setting up this clue in his last breath hit too hard. Also, listen to the verbiage the librarian used when he talked about what made him snap.
It all came flooding back to me.
flooding. The world got flooded and his internal life got flooded until it was just too much, until he caused destruction just like the outside world caused destruction. Now, what's interesting here though is I wonder why he had a vendetta against the president when he was working, he saw Sinatra and knew that it was her funding everything and being in control of everything. So I wonder why he didn't go after Sinatra. That's the only thing that didn't make sense to me about him getting Cal. Now, thematically, it does make sense though, because Cal was Sinatra's puppet, and his karma for, enacting everything Sinatra wanted was that he ultimately paid the price. He was the first one to die out of the two of them because he's her puppet. Now, we all know Sterling K. Brown can act, but we just found out that Xavier can also act. And so now we get into the season 2 predictions. Let's start here.
Collins, he's showing you the way. He gave his life for it.
I can't just...
It is not just about you. It is not just about your wife. We need to know what's out there.
So we know after this that Xavier leaves. Now here's what I want to know if they're going to be able to pull off. I don't want Xavier to be away from this main cast for that long. I don't want to see a separate storyline with Xavier and then go back and forth between Xavier and Paradise. I personally don't think I like that structure. But as we go into season 2, I do think he'll find his wife in season 2. But I don't know if she's going to be dead or alive, to be honest with you. Her dying right when he finds her could definitely be a gigantic dramatic point of the season, or him getting stuck and not being able to get back to Paradise would be kind of it. That would be kind of interesting if they were able to keep the show going for 4 or 5 seasons. I guess using Xavier in season 2 to introduce kind of like a new cast to bring into the Paradise and then having that expand. I mean, I guess I just really don't want him to be away from the cast. But yeah, I think he's going to find his wife. I think that Sinatra actually may not end up being a bad guy, because her character arc, although they showed her have a reason for wanting Paradise and all that, her character arc was pretty much evil the whole season. And so in order for her character to have any type of growth, I mean, she either has to turn good or essentially just keep falling and keep falling and keep falling and just have like a tragic storyline. But I don't know if I see them doing that. I think Presley, even though Robinson is staying behind to, take care of Presley, I think she's going to become extremely independent and a boss in her own right and kind of take Billy's path. I really do. That's where I think her character's going. I want to know where Xavier's son, how he's going to grow as his character gets older. They're going to have to introduce him more, unless they just want him to become a forgotten face. I also want to know why the dog is important from the neighbor. That never got settled or anything like that, but obviously that's important. Dr. Gabriella, now that she's on the side of Robinson and Xavier, all that, I want to see what happens there. And then Jane, I'm interested to see if she becomes the person that runs everything now that she has somewhat power over Sinatra, it seems. So I think Jane's character is going to be one of the most interesting moving forward, to be honest, kind of going from psychopathic killer to someone in the shadows running Paradise would be pretty cool. Leave a comment and let me know what you want to see happen in season 2. If you like this video, please go ahead and join the Foster fam either on Patreon or through being a YouTube member. The support would mean everything and it'll allow me to keep on making content like this, and you'd be able to join an awesome community of people. I'll just greatly appreciate it. If you liked all these reviews for Paradise, I am doing other TV show reviews and you can check those out. But I really enjoyed making these videos and talking with all of you throughout this whole season. And until next season, I'll see y'all.